Okay, so let's take a look at how Roman Crisis plays out. Now, first of all, I'm pretty sure, looking at the game and thinking about it a little bit more, that the first player is going to get to decide what this is after he looks at his cards. Why? Because otherwise it's just a random pick, right? So he's got a couple of Goths. How does he want to choose things then? Well, in particular, I see we got a good military rated leader here. I'd love to get him, but I probably am not going to get him. Likewise here, this guy's particularly good against the Goths. That's of interest too. Valerian there. Decius. So I'm probably Claudius. I'm probably going to be able. Crisis rankings can be reversed. Ooh, he can go beat up the worst one, the weakest one, and get, I guess, the most points off that. This is an interesting one. He gets to flip himself over and, I guess, become his son. And then he goes to the discard pile and comes back. What? I don't know. Okay. So looking at this, you would think, well, I've got two military cards. I'd like to make a military leader the best. But what if I want to be, instead of the emperor, the legatus? Then I'd probably want the choice of the first emperor not to be military. So what do I go with then? Well, let's go with the political leader. I think that's a neat trick. Now, I'm going to be going this way, counterclockwise, as my main order. That's what I always do when I play. I don't know why. Which means we are in the first player over here. He gets to choose, and he can choose a person. He's not able to choose a position to begin with. Now, legatus is going to be available for positioning at the beginning, which means someone can just grab it, I guess. So let's look at this guy's options. He's got bonus, some SPQR, and some gold. Looks to me like moving towards the Imperial side might be a good move for him. His choices are these two. Do I want a bonus versus the Goths, or do I want this guy who gets me a replacement leader when he comes forward? And damned if I know. So I'll pull out a die, something I like to use, and I'm going to randomize which one he wants. He's going to go for Gordian. It's not clear which is going to be better. There may not be a lot of Goth cards there. So I've taken this. I could not take one of these because I don't have a person to assign it to right away. Puts this on the next player, who says, Goths, Persia. Well, this guy sucks against Persia. This guy's kind of good against two. A lot of military power. This guy's got the political power. I'm going to choose between these two. Is that the best idea? I don't know. I'll take Aurelian here. Puts us to our next player. Palmyra and a bunch of SPQR. Well, we see somebody who has a bunch of SPQR. This guy has a nice ability against that and some SPQR. I could be going for military, but I'll just take Decius here as my option. And now we go to the last player, and he's going to get 2 picks in a row, which means he could grab the legatus that he kind of wants. He's got Goth's ability. Oh, do I want to be weaker against Persia, against this? I'll take the guy with more military, perhaps. military doesn't really matter too much for. Oh, this is only as emperor, so I'm not going to have that bonus as the legatus. Anyone have anything here? He has an ability that doesn't appear to be based on that. As a candidate, he can transfer Goths from a rival display. That doesn't seem terribly valuable. Well, I think I want to go with high military. Just one of these three. This one seems the most valuable because I don't have to be emperor. And I'm going to grab the legatus here as my office. And now we work our way back. Do you want an office? If you grab an office, you may not get another candidate. But if you don't grab an office here, well, it'll swing back and then come back around. You may not get a candidate there either. What is most appealing? Let us win the empire. Puts us over here, military of 4. What does he want? Gives me a lot of military influence. Maybe makes me second in line for the legatus there. Puts it over here. Well, I'm going to get a pick. If I take this, I lose out on the fact that I'll get another leader. If this guy didn't take one, if he instead took a person, what would happen? If I take a person, then if he takes a person and a leader, I still and an office, I still get an office for that. Maybe that makes more sense. Yeah, why don't I take Claudius here instead? And that puts it on him. Now, I could take 2, grab an office, and I'd end up with an office there. Do I have a good military commander that I could assign myself to? Maximinus Thrax is interesting with his ability to shift gold cards. This guy's got a lot of potential military against Goths. This guy has the ability to screw Goths away. I like that, and I will take the military influence card. Puts it to me, do I want more Praetorian influence? I become a god of the Praetorians in that case, but that may mean that nobody wants to give me, to make the Praetorians the way to select. Will I ever get the ability to make that choice? Well, how do I make that choice? Yeah, you can see why I like bound rolls, but these aren't too big, so it's not that bad. The first player who passed gets to choose. That could well be me. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Praetorian Prefect and throw myself up into the first rank of that choice. Is it necessarily what I want? Well, no, I don't have gold, but I've got a lot of points towards being Praetorian, and that's kind of appealing. Well, now we've got 4 people, and where are we going to start? I think we have the same dealer as we had before. Doesn't look like that changes here. So I should take a little marker of some sort. Say this wonderful, kind of crappy, actually smoky quartz, but I like it. and put it over there to indicate the dealer for that. I could use this. That might be better in case I need to do something with this smoky quartz that I've got kicking around here and you don't want to know why. So, what is this? That's the Legatus's bonuses. All right. We ended here. These are going to go in the middle of the deck. Doesn't indicate any ordering. I'll just do it kind of at random like that. And I'll split the deck evenly, which I can't do with one hand actually. Okay, let's select, start the game here. The dealer is going to deal out 3 times the number of players with cards. That's a dozen cards. All face up. And those are my opportunities. Starting with the player to the left of the dealer. Now I'm going to go counterclockwise instead of clockwise. Each player takes a card into their hand. I'm going to keep my hands face up while I look. So, what is my situation here? I've got a decent military leader. I've got a decent political leader. I want to get political power. There's political power sitting out there. I'll scoop some up. The numbers here that show you the range of the different cards. And so these are always 2, the gold cards. They're the most flexible, but they're not worth a whole hell of a lot. He's got Praetorian power and some decent military power. He's particularly good against Goths or Palmyra if he's the Emperor. I'll grab a Persian card. I've got a collection of those. That could create a nice rich issue to defeat an emperor. I should get this up here. And get these out of the way somewhere. Because I'm not going to use them. I'm using a score pad over here. Okay, so he's got Palmyra SPQR. He's got an SPQR. And he's got the Senate leader that gives him a total of 7 right now. What does he want to buy? Let's grab another one. Without military leadership, he doesn't have another really good route towards getting victory points. Well, he doesn't have a route at all. We got some Goths here. We are the Legatus. I'll grab a big Persian point card. Doesn't help me against Goths, but I saw someone else pick up Persians. That way I'll be able to perhaps combat them. Now he was the last person to draw a card, so he gets a second pick right afterwards. There's still a lot of Persian cards out there. I'm going to grab another one. This guy sees no particular reason to grab anything. Well, no, wait a minute. Maybe he doesn't need a military card. See, but if he wins the Empire, he's going to need military cards, isn't he? I'll grab a military option card. It's not guaranteed. He could be trying to resolve a different kind of problem. Over here, I'll pick up an SPQR. Just kind of broaden my options. Got a couple of these. I got some gold. I'm not going to have the ability to gain a lot of military, even if I'm Emperor. I've seen a lot of Persian cards go by. If a 7 is played, I can match it with that combination. I'll pick it up. I'll pick up a military card. And now we reverse once more for the final shot. I get another. I'll grab some Goths. Again, I can probably beat the Goths that are out there. This guy, flexibility is always an option. It seems kind of worthless to buy something that's so weak and committed, or to pick up something so weak and committed. This guy same feeling, and that leaves the Palmyra card over here, and I can kind of guide these out there. Okay, we've done this. Now it's time to select our emperors, and we each put forward a single eligible leader, and it's done in order. It's not picked secretly. Well, SPQR is the only eligible, so I've got to put Gordian up as my candidate. Likewise here, he has no candidate. Now, you only become eligible if there's no candidate whatsoever. So he does not have an eligible candidate. He has an eligible candidate. He has an eligible candidate. Okay. Who's the highest? Well, that's going to be this guy with 4. Because oh no, that's this guy with 7, the Senate leader. Which means he has the highest vote. Now, if this guy had a decent SPQR and was ever the lead, he would be an option to put forward, but he's not going to put any bids. He's withdrawing from the auction, and that means he gets this sucker. Now remember, he's the guy who picked SPQR before. He's planning on making a lot of points as the legatus throughout this period. And it's only a 50-year period, so it's not like Republic of Rome, where you really have to worry about the aging, or Founding Fathers for that matter, but that at least takes care of it. Republic of Rome doesn't really take care of aging, for what that's worth, in a comparison with this one. So now, do I want to run? That's the question. If I put a lot of points on him, it doesn't necessarily diminish his ability to run. Which is to say, those points stay stuck to him. He becomes a better option later. Now, this guy is sitting on 7 points. I have 4. I can't merely tie him, so I would have to play this if I wanted to beat right away. Do I want to? Yeah. Emperor's good. Do I have a great hand of cards? Not particularly. That's the one problem here. Unless there's an SPQR problem, and I didn't see a lot of cards being drawn, I'm not convinced that I'm going to be able to get much in the way of points. Should I pass? I think so. So that puts it into his hands. And now, it's time to create problems. No. Oh, not yet. Okay. This guy passed. He gets to choose what the next emperor is going to be. So this is kind of difficult because there aren't a lot of characters out there to pick. There aren't a lot of choices. I don't want military, so it's between SPQR and Praetorian. If I pick up Praetorian, it guarantees it to him, more or less. If I pick SPQR, it probably guarantees it to him, more or less. I'm going to leave it as SPQR. I can't see much reason for either, but that may reduce the use of SPQR cards for results, which may mean I'm able to take on the biggest threat, which might be a military threat. Unlikely that that's really an issue. So now the Emperor gets to assign offices. Well, there aren't. Yes, there is one. He's just become Emperor. There's the Senate Leader office. He has to choose another character, another player. That player has an eligible candidate with the fewest total offices. Well, each player has a single office. Each of the sides, it goes to the one with the fewest victory points. That's equal to everyone. Normally, it would go to the character, the player to the right. Instead, it's got to go to the left here. So I'm going to assign it to him. He has the choice to move the Praetorians if he wishes, or he can make Aurelian the Senate Leader. Senate Leader is not eligible. It's got to go to him. It's got to be somebody who has Senate influence. Now that gets trumped if there's no one with the right eligible. So for example, if there had been no Praetorians, that would get trumped. What could have been really screwy is it could have ended up going to him, and then he loses his legatus. Just because we don't have enough office holders, enough senators available. That is a fault of the players. They didn't have to do what they did. They didn't have to grab offices early. They could have built up their little coteries of senator or military heroes or whatever. Okay, now it's time for crises. Everybody's going to secretly place a card from their hand face down. That's going to show the growing crisis. Well, I don't want to play Palmyra because I don't have much to deal with them. So my choices are between Persia and the Goths. I'm going to put Persia forward because there's a chance that I can get the most victory points with that because I have a bigger Persia. This guy over here is not going to get a chance to use any abilities here. So his goal is to be the worst that he can. Now, in order to beat a crisis, the Emperor can only count cards from his hand, right? And special abilities. So let's look at what this Emperor has. He has a bonus versus the Goths. We probably don't want to throw Goths out there. We have a lot of SPQR. Do we want to put a SPQR problem out for the Emperor? He didn't put any bid there, but we do know that he pulled some SPQR card, at least one. I don't remember for sure. So, to me, Persia looks valuable. The problem is Persia is my best military card, but it's a lousy card of the type. Other alternative would be to throw gold, make something just worse in general. Let's roll a die to decide. I'm going to throw the Persia card out. Okay. Over here, again, I don't get to play anything. SPQR looks useless to me. Of course, I know there are cards that are out on it. Gold is allocatable to other things, so I'm going to put that. And he has to put one too. What does he want to put? Well, he can match only the SPQR, so he'll put that out. And now we reveal them and see what our sets are. And we have a Persia 11 and an SPQR 11. So we've got internal problems and Persia problems that are equal. Well, what does a tie mean here? Okay. Now, how many cards can the Emperor play? Unlike the Legatus, he can play as many as he likes, I believe. Unfortunately for him, 11 and 11 are both bigger than he can handle, even if he throws these in. The best he can handle is one card of either one. I'll play an SPQR card on myself. I'll discard this, and player 4, I'll get 1 point. None too impressive. Decius is not a powerful emperor, it turns out. Few of these were. Now the legate's allowed to address a military operation. And this is one reason I didn't want to address Persia. He might not be able to handle this at all. And in fact, all he has is 7 points. Now the question is, does he want to collect up Persia points because he's liable to remain Legatus? It's not guaranteed though. He might get bumped into another office. Or does he want to score a single point for getting rid of one card off this? He's going to go for that single point and hold up his hand. It'll be more valuable that way. Now somewhere we have the sequence of play on, that shouldn't be there, on here, but it's not very detailed, so gotta kind of go through these. The Emperor dies. He goes into the discard pile. His cards go into the discard pile. This becomes available. And now we have a new dealer, which will go, the player with the most points becomes the last player. Well, there's this guy over here, and he's got no candidates. That's not a terrible thing. He'll still be adding to these, and he'll be building up a deck for when the candidates arrive. But it does kind of mean he's not going to get any score for a while. He'll just be playing spoiler during the era. That's the first turn. I'm going to play out at least one more turn on this video, just because I think a half-hour video is probably too short these days for whatever reason. As we start a new turn, we have to reveal the cards and draft. Well, we have a bit of a problem here, which is that we have to move these over here, make a little space for that big draft, and we're going to have 12 new cards come up, and no guarantees on how well I shuffled. Hey, we're getting our new personages. Okay, so who gets first choice? Well, our deal is here. That means, by my weird counterclockwise way of doing things, we go over here. And this is an interesting question, you know. I've got this Legatus. He's not producing much in the way of points. There's a big Persia problem. If I pick this up, I'm not going to get a lot more points. I may not still have enough to beat Persia. On the other hand, I could have enough for Palmyra. But it may be more valuable to pick up a secondary person. Bunch of SPQR. Nowhere near what this guy's sitting on, though. Bunch of Praetorian. Nowhere near what this guy's sitting on. And some mixed, some other, a little bit here. Ooh, this is pretty good, too. What about the ability here? And I assume, I don't know what each gold is, whether it's each gold card or each point of gold. I'm going to suggest that it's each gold card. These guys, they were co-emperors, would have the ability to pull cards from their opponent, but they have to make it to emperor, and that's kind of the troubling thing here. This guy's got the richest points. I'm going to grab him. It sends it over here. Do we want another person? We're in line to get things. If we grab this, we can pretty much guarantee it. And there is an SPQR problem out there. I'm going to do that. I think you gotta stow some points, and this doesn't promise, from my viewpoint, to be a very long game. Remember, 2 B-level emperors have to get discarded for this to be a problem, or have to be removed from the game for the game to end. Over here, the Praetorian, a good military leader. I would like to be engineering a way to get rid of the Legatus, but that's not going to be easy now, because now he's got somebody to cover him. That's why it was particularly important for him to take that leader, or a leader. I've already got 2 leaders. I can't deny him a new leader. So, do I have a chance of anything? Not right away. There aren't any good senators out there. I've got the top Praetorian sitting right with me. What do I want? Do I want points to throw at someone else, or do I want to grab a decent leader? I think I'll take this guy. I might be able to swing him at some point. Maybe. Over here, this guy's going to get 2 cards. He definitely needs a leader. Does he want 2 leaders right off the bat? If he doesn't take leaders, what does he go for? I think taking the 2 people is the safest and easiest decision, so we'll do that. That puts us back over here. Now, what do we want? For Praetorian elections, gold is definitely the thing. The problem is I need to be able to collect other stuff. I've got a pile of Persia cards. I'll probably be able to handle that. Collecting things that go together makes sense, but on the other hand, pulling things that don't really work for you also makes sense. I feel like I have so many good options here. I could add to the Persia problem. I could add to the SPQR problem. I could take gold. I could add to my Goths. I don't know which to take. I'm going to grab a gold, and yes, I'm not going to really, I don't usually explain what my die rolls were. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 or 6 gold, because that's the most directly beneficial to me. I am very likely to make it as the Emperor. In fact, I only have one competition. SPQR is not the biggest problem, but I don't think I'm going to be able to beat Persia. On the other hand, if he's the legate, and I don't really know for sure that he has Persia cards. This isn't going to do it, but if he has Persia cards, it'll help. And score him more points than I'm going to get. I think I'm going to take a Goths card and start building up a Gothic threat, which probably nobody will want to deal with. Well, no, the danger with that is the Persia threat may be too big. Same factor with Palmyra. And see, the thing is, I could grab SPQR, boost the SPQR threat here, and then defeat it, and it would be the biggest threat. That would get me a lot of points. It's early in the game to blow so many points, though. So, and it's probably going to be the second biggest threat. I honestly think I want the Persia card for various reasons. I don't want to make that the biggest threat. Oh, this is tough. My backup is a military guy. The Persia card's the best military. I'll take it. But it's not a very good military. Over here, but it can get you your election to Emperor. Back to this guy. He's going to get 2 picks in a row. He sees Persia he's not going to be able to beat. So he needs to set up a battle possibility. He has the Goths. He would like to have more than one Goth, though, in his hand. So he'll put that there. And his secondary position, SPQR, looks like it might be good in the long run. Come back down here. Not a lot of options. I'll take the gold. It's most flexible. No options for the rest. Okay. Where are we now? It's time to select the Emperor. And we have to put out SPQR folk. What order is this done in? To the left of the dealer. That's the left here. He's got to put somebody out. He'll put Valerian in place. Put this guy in place with 7. And nobody else has any SPQR. So now he has the choice. Does he want to play 4 SPQR? Well, sure. I'm going to go for the Emperor because although I'm not going to... actually, right now, I would be able to beat the SPQR. Because SPQR... Because he gets to keep these points allocated to him to deal with the next problem. If this guy wants to beat it, well... A 7 is the smallest card that'll beat it. Well, that'll beat that threat. Alternatively, I could go with something weaker. I have 2 gold that I could throw in. That would put me to 7, 9. This guy's at 9. That's not going to beat it. I could use the smaller card, but I'm going to use the bigger card, and that bumps him out of the way. He can't possibly win now, so he can't play. And he wouldn't want to. Okay. Now we set selection. Who failed to have a candidate first? That would be this guy. He should have gotten the selection pile. Now, he would like a chance to play the game, so he's going to make Praetorian the next selection. And now the Emperor gets to assign offices. Well, his first job with offices is he becomes Emperor. And that means we have a Senate leader. Who does he have to give it to? Player with the fewest offices. That's got to be this guy over here. He gets to choose where he wants it. He does not have someone who's eligible. In fact, there is only 2 eligible people, so it goes over here. And he will take Senate leader. The Emperor gets to deal with, we get to mount the crises. Everybody's going to be throwing a card down to see what they can increase it to. I can't beat Persia still. I want to beat something. I'll put a Goth in play. What about him? I don't have the ability, I don't think. If I put a 9 there, that goes to 14. I wouldn't be able to defeat it then. I don't want to put something out there for that. Do I want something else? I would like to up the Persia crisis. Yeah, nobody's going to get that solved now. Over here, what do I want? I have enough points to defeat Persia. I don't know if anybody else does, but I'm kind of feeling like I shouldn't throw a Persia card out there. I'm going to go for the Praetorian next time. Gold's always useful. There's Palmyra and the Goths. Those are my choices. I'll throw a Goths, which is going to throw a monkey wrench in our legate's position here. And for this guy, he's got kind of a hopeless position here. He's got a big Palmyra card and a little Palmyra card. Those don't seem terribly valuable. He's got a Persia card, which he could boost, and a gold card. I kind of like the pair of Palmyras, so I'm going to play either Persia or gold. I'm not sure which. I'll throw a gold. That way we get to see how the gold gets assessed. And more Persia, some Goths, more Goths, and then 2 more points get added to the biggest problem. And doing things one-handed is always hard for me. There's our setup of problems. Now the Emperor gets to solve something. I have 7 SPQR. That's enough to defeat this. This is only the 3rd most problem, though. Could I have dealt with the Goths? There's 8 Goths. I could deal with them instead and get more points. But you see, this already deals with... Yeah, let's see what the points are. 3rd most is worth 10. 2nd most is worth 15. My next character is going to have a lot of SPQR too. I'm gonna just take the 10 points. I think it's the most valuable. Okay. And now the legate takes care of a war. Legate's military ability. He does not have enough to handle the Persians. He does not have enough to handle the damn Goths. Does he want to play either? Those Persians are getting pretty hard. I can take out 2 cards from the Persians, and that'll get player 1 2 points. And now he's building up a military might over in Persia. Eventually he may be able to defeat them. This is the advantage of the legate versus the emperors. The emperors, I guess the idea there is if they defeat an enemy, that's probably the enemy they're defeating to become the emperor, essentially. Because these emperors usually didn't do much once they were on the throne. Quite often what they did was their big action was before they take the throne. That certainly applies with these guys if they ever become emperor. Now the emperor dies. Now his special ability is he is flipped and kept instead of discarded. That's an option. And then this guy can go to the discard pile instead of leaving play. That's an option too. And what that option means is the person who owns Gordian has some neat ability to prolong play. If he is winning, he probably wants to leave play with this guy because once 2 leave play, we're done with the game. But if he goes to the discard pile, that means it's less likely that you'll see two B's go away as quickly, right? One of those two is him. And now the dealer will be the person with the most points, and that is our most recent emperor. All right. I think what we're going to do is we're going to load this sucker up, because although I've got room for another turn on sort of my hour length videos, I think I've given a fair idea of what's going on in this between the two turns, and then probably we'll finish it up on the next video.